This is a Cisco 3560X, and we're going to put Claude AI and ChatGPT up against it and see if it can do some basic programming and find out if our AI jobs are really at risk. Come with me and let's find out. Hi YouTube, this is part of the video where we're going to put AI to the test. Can it program a Cisco switch? A lot of people say they're in IT. I'm in IT, old school IT. You know, racking switches, racking firewalls, servers, actually going around and plugging things in. But can Claude do anything I can do? So we're going to start with some basics, right? So here on the screen, we have a 3560X, and I'm going to show you running config. It's just blank. It's how it comes out. You don't initiate the initial configuration. And let me see. I'm going to show VLANs. It's the default VLAN. Okay. Okay, just turning off the sound. Didn't want to hear it beep all day. So let's say we want to tell Claude, give us 3 VLANs, set up the first, let's see, it's 48. So let's say 4 VLANs, 12 ports each. So I need to configure a Cisco, what do we say we have? 3560X running iOS. This is the Cisco iOS, not the Apple iOS. To configure, I need the following. 4 VLANs, 101 to 104. And let's see, VLAN 101 on ports 1 through 12, VLAN 102 on ports 13 to 24, say VLAN 103 on ports 25 to 36, and VLAN 104 on ports 36 to 48. So let's see what it gives us. Okay, so let's see if it does this. So first let's punch this in. Ready? Going to go into config terminal and we're going to paste it in. So we do show VLAN. Okay. And now it's going to do range. Okay. Okay, now we do this. And we're going to do okay. Write mem, do write mem. So you see, we did all the commands. When it exited it, it was still in config. It needed to do an end instead of exit in order to do the write mem. Else you have to append the do command. So in Cisco, if you're in config terminal, and you need to do a non-configuration command, most of the time you have to do a do command. So if I did something like show IP interface brief, it would say doesn't know what to do. But if I say do show IP interface brief, then the command actually executes. So that's one down for Claude. So it didn't actually. I didn't do Claude, I did chat. So, okay. I was supposed to have started with Claude. So let's see what Claude actually does then. Here is the big difference. You can tell. ChatGPT didn't do the end command, but Claude did. So if I do these commands again, these should just repeat, right? These have underscores. So if I do show VLAN, now the names have underscores. These shouldn't change, but I'm going to go all the way down to the right mem. And let's see what it does. It knew it needed to exit config. So how do you like that? These AIs are not going to be taking my job anytime soon. So let's see what else we can get it to do. Let's say we wanted to do, router on a stick. The good old days. If you had a switch that was only layer 2, didn't support layer 3, and you had VLANs, you can have a trunk port send all the VLANs to a router and have that router do all of the inter-VLAN routing for you. So let's say, we need to adjust settings to include router on a stick. Use port 48 for the uplink to the router. Set up VLANs with the following IPs. VLAN 1 we'll call 192.168. Say 101.1/24. We'll call, remember there's no VLAN 1. There's VLAN 101 and through 104. So we're going to copy these. Commands. And we're going to do 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. It should give me VLAN interface commands. All right, so here we go. Yeah, it didn't do what I told it to do. Configure physical interface port, switch port 48. Replace 00 with your actual interface. So here it just did generalization. It's actually in the instructions, replace this interface with the interface I want to use. So let's see what chat does. So now I'm going to say the same thing. Puts 1 through 12, sets up the trunk, that's correct, sets up VLAN interface, management IP, on the router. It didn't do the end here. So yeah, okay. So in this case, it set up the VLANs and it's assuming, or it thinks it's telling you to put the virtual IP in the instructions on the router itself, which would make sense, right? Because on the router on the stick, you set up the VLANs on the switch, you set up the IPs on the router, and then it handles it. So, but did Claude do this? All right, it says configure terminal, Cisco 3.4, router configuration, router on a stick. Yes, actually it did. I misread the configuration. It set up the VLANs, okay, here. Then on the router, it says your port. Yeah, okay, so it did port 48, that's correct. And on the router config, then you set up all the interfaces. Excellent. Let's see if we can get Claude to do inter-VLAN routing. Okay, and ChatGPT. So now I'm going to say, I'm going to assume the same thing, set up VLANs. Set up VLANs with the following. Okay. Set up VLANs with, so we're going to set up VLANs with the following IPs. VLAN 1, VLAN 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do show hardware. Show hardware. $3560. Set up VLANs with the following. Cisco 3560 has a layer 3 switch. VLANs. Oops. Didn't mean to do this command. I need to do it again. So I'm going to say set it up. Set up default gateway 0, set up default gateway for internet to 192.168.101.254. That's like AT&T used to use. At least when I was playing with AT&T routers, they would all be .254. Okay, let's see what the commands are. Cisco layer 3. Okay, config terminal. So we're going to do all this and see what we get. All right. What is Claude going to do? So we go to, do we have the config? Yes. So I'm going to say config terminal. Change to down. Okay. So we do show IP route. No route of last resort. So it didn't set the route of last resort. Let's see what it did. So it created VLAN 101, 102, 3, and 4, set up the interfaces, configured ports, configured the gateway to 1.254. So the gateway is going to be on any interface 1 through 12. And don't know why default route. Let's see, show IP route should be there. Did it not get set? So let's go back. Configure default for internet use, IP route. It did. IP route. Config term. IP route. 192.168.101.254. Show IP route. I think it's because it's not there. It doesn't exist. You can't ping the gateway. So I think if you can't ping the gateway, but let's see if we can ping ourselves. So let's go to end. Can we ping ourselves? Ping 192.168.101.1. Nope. Interface VLAN, no shot. Show run, show IP interface briefs. It says it's up. Yeah, there's no equipment plugged into any of these switches. So I'm not sure if all of the interfaces are down, if any of these come up. So let's ask chat the same question. So I want to do this. I want to set it up as a layer 3 switch. Let's see what it does. Again, IP routing establishes the VLANs, uses range command, assigns the IP to each of the VLANs, and sets up the route, save config, write memory. Still, it doesn't do the end. It should know to do the end. So yeah, what does this tell us? Well, for basic, small, medium-sized businesses running a switch, this is 95% of the way there. It can do it. It's got a little issue. Chat's got a little issue here where it doesn't issue the end command. So if you're automating programming switches and you didn't specifically write your code to tell it you have to do the end command. So let me see if I can do that. I'm going to say submit type end and then write memory when finished. Let's see, you got to be very ADHD when giving these LMMs instructions. At the very end, type end, and then write mem. Let's see what it says. Right. Ah, yes, you can tell it to do that. So if you see that chat isn't doing it, you can tell it to issue the end and then the write memory command, even though it doesn't know that to save, you have to be out of config. Long story short, it's not going to take over anytime soon. You still need human beings to physically rack the switches, routers, and to wire them. Yes, I know there's a Tesla bot. It's a humanoid robot. So until these guys are agile and quick enough to rack a 1.75 inch high, 19 inch across rack mountable device, every 1U is 1.75. I should be okay. I still got a couple of years before I retire. And then once I'm retired, IT can do whatever it wants to do, whether with robots or a minimal human staff to take care of the hardware. I always kind of tell my friends that I'm kind of like the car mechanic. If IT infrastructure were a car, then the programmers are like your chauffeurs, and I'm your mechanic. And like a couple of my favorite YouTubers say, until AI can spin a wrench, crack, well, crack, guess what forget what the phrase is for mechanics. Pull a wrench, crack a wrench, twist a wrench, I forget what it is. But until they could use hand tools, I think auto mechanics are pretty safe, and I'm pretty safe. Now, granted, once it's racked and wired, I'm pretty much not really necessary, unless it's for a very, very elaborate, complicated setup that has to be monitored, right? You might not want to trust your AI with your New York to Tokyo or New York to London trunk that's vital to your business, and it decides to just factory reset the router, even though you told it not to do anything on a weekend. So I'll leave it at that. It's going to be a pretty short one, not too long. I just wanted to cover this area about AI and tech. I see tons of YouTube and TikTok videos of everyone saying they're in IT or they're in tech and they're doing this and that. And all I see are guys in their like gym shorts programming on a standing table. This is a standing table, but I'm not going to do that, right? And they code, and that's it. If they had to like install a lamp stack, maybe some of them know how to do it. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But you know, I go all the way back to DOS 3 and Novell NetWare, and I've seen all this technology come and all the automation. I remember when you had to go all the way out to the field to support clients before broadband and before remote access terminals and things like that. It was the early days, and only techs were really in it, and you called support and it was another tech, and nothing was outsourced. So yeah, I missed that part. All right, everybody, hope we all had fun. Give me ideas of what else you'd like to see. I want to throw the LLMs against other things, but this little Cisco is something I wanted to try really quick. Okay, hope to see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.